Okay, it is connected. Hey, look at that. It's connected to both of them.
Oh, technology, we love it, don't we?
Every single time. It is absolutely remarkable. Right, I just need to press one more button on the Facebook one. You know what? YouTube doesn't have a picture though. Why is there no picture on YouTube now after I just said, oh, look how good this all is? There we go. There we go. Now it's all good.
That's
Right.
it.
We're there. I think we're there. I just need to press one thing here. Come on. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So we are now live in YouTube.
Excellent.
And we are
Excellent.
live on Facebook as well, which is lovely. And as I was mentioning to you earlier, Peter, I'll be using this to make future podcast episode as well, so we get the most out of it that we can. How are you?
I'm excellent.
Good.
Excellent. Well, we're really, really busy, but
Yeah.
things are, we're working flat out.
Yeah.
Because we have workshops, we have day workshops, we have evening classes, and in our little studio. And of course, we've got fairs coming up that I'll talk to you about a bit later.
Yeah.
So we're making, the problem that we have at the moment is that we're making lots of different things. And what we need to do is just focus it down a little bit, and do something really, really excellent. But both Jill and myself are both creative, and we keep going, oh, should we try that? What about that? So it gets that, it's that little bubble that we're in. And we're sort of bowling along with it. But
We were just saying, weren't we, about ideas? You keep getting ideas
oh,
and rolling with
you
them.
just think, don't you? Just think all the time,
Yeah.
What about how, and it's like people say, well, we can't reinvent the wheel, but effectively we are, because with the advent of new technologies and new ideas of 3D printing, and now it's all becoming the norm, and it's happened really quickly,
Yeah.
And so no, I think it's wonderful. I'm embracing it, and so is Jill. We're just loving it.
Oh, that's so exciting. Yeah, me too. I love all the tech stuff. I've been doing a lot in the podcasting world. There's this thing called podcasting 2.0, and it means there's so much more listeners can do than just listen. And that's something I'm exploring at the moment. And just generally, the way tech is going the way it is, I find it exciting. And I think some other people might find it a bit scary and a bit of a challenge
Absolutely.
to look into.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. But I think also these things can be less scary than they appear once you start having a little delve around in them.
But that's the thing, isn't it? I think you've got to share it, haven't you? You've got to, show people that you're not frightened of it and embrace it. And you may not be as quick as them, of course. Like, you've got a 20-year-old. I mean, my granddaughter's 18. And she goes, oh, give me that. She goes, and I go, no, just show me.
Yeah.
And I'll do it.
Yeah.
It's, the brain is still up there. It's a little bit slow, but I still want to learn. I'm hungry for this new technology.
Yeah.
So keep it coming on,
Brilliant.
But,
Well, you were an engineer and you were into technology before, when you were working, weren't you? And even you made your own pottery wheel that you did at the wrong speed and ran the wrong way.
Yes, I did, because it's really difficult at the minute, because people go, well, I'll just go to YouTube or I'll just go to the internet, but there wasn't anything like that. And even in the library, there was no books on make your own pottery wheel, so you just had to guess, roughly what it did. And like you said, so I made my own pottery wheel. It was one speed that was flat out, and it was going the wrong way. And like a friend who eventually joined me and said, who taught us a potter, and he watched me through and he went, oh, he said, how are you doing that? But I was producing, and and of course, once it was all sorted out, it was easier.
Yeah.
I began to realise then, the nature of the beast. But but back in the day, CNC was the big thing. And the companies I was involved in and I owned, we invested heavily into new CNC equipment. And, and that's sort of how it bowled along. And I've never stopped since then,
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, anyway, on to what it is you do. So, just a little bit of an introduction from me, Peter. Peter is a member of the Creativity Found Collective. He's also a podcast guest. You can find his episodes a bit further down the line. I can't remember what the numbers are now. I should have written it down, but you'll find them. And what I like to do with my Creativity Found Collective members is have these chats so that everybody else can learn a bit more about what they do. The Creativity Found Collective, it's a promotional and networking membership. It's for people like Peter who share their creative skills with adults through teaching. It might be online, it might be kits, something like that. But we also have a membership for those kind of other small business enterprises that can help the artists and the crafters do more of the arty crafty stuff. So we're trying to give some support in the background, because we always say that when you turn your art or craft into your business, your balance between doing the creating and doing the business can become a bit skewed. So I
Absolutely,
try
yeah.
to kind of help out and get people connected so that they can get some help in outsourcing that. So Peter, do tell me then about exactly how you help grown-ups to get creative.
Do you know, I thought about this, and it's about encouragement and support, and it's about introducing people to something they wouldn't normally do, and it's getting them to believe that that challenge is doable. Um, whether it's mountain biking or hiking or something really really creative, you've got to start somewhere, and because we're grown up with that fear of failure, it's breaking that barrier down and saying, come on, never mind about the failure, enjoy the failure, you know, um, almost celebrate the failure, because that's how we learn. And so, we have people come to the workshop. So I always give, everybody that comes, they always make something positive, and I encourage them to do as best as they possibly can. And quite often, it's just about change of thought process of how they see themselves. And that's what I do. But it's in the workshops we do all ages from 12 upwards, and it's mainly adults, I suppose. That's the area I'm sort of keen on. Um, Everybody brings something to the table. They sort of they the situation is where um, people come, and they come with friends, or they come with family, or they come with partners, and quite often the partner or the friend has come just purely as support. And what you find is they go, oh, I like this. And the next thing you know, you have a little competition going on. And because it's a very small venue, I can do one-to-one, so they get a very rich and rewarding experience out of it. And it's really interesting, the amount of people that leave and go, how much is a potter's wheel on a kiln? And suddenly you've already, here you've got a chap like, I don't know, there's probably been a CEO of a company, and suddenly thinking about, I can do this, and I could do a bit of design, and suddenly you can see that warmth coming through, and it's just lovely,
Yeah.
you know.
And if somebody comes to you for the first time, when somebody comes to you for the first time, how do you make that first physical connection with clay and actually make a thing? How do you approach
Right.
that first step?
Right. So I've been a teacher most of my life. You know my story. I'm not Methuselah. But so what I do is I introduce them. I talk them through the clay process. Then I demonstrate. So I demonstrate and make something quite simple, a simple cylinder, and I show them all the techniques. And then I sit between them and I work off a board, and I step by step. So here's how you put the clay on the board. Here's how you center up. Why do you center up? Explain that process. Then go to coning up, then making a simple cylinder, cutting through that cylinder, and discussing what they could have done better, and then go on to something more tangible. And then I go, but this one time we're going to make a mug with a handle, and you're going to turn it and finish it, and we're going to glaze it, and we're going to put a date and your name on the bottom, and it becomes really personal, and it's fantastic. People honest to God, people are fantastic. Their abilities, they suddenly come out, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, I think, like you said earlier, I think it's really interesting, that aspect of not necessarily the physical skill you don't have before you get there, but the confidence to give it a go and let what happens. I mean, I teach dance, and I will say to people, look, you're doing everything right. Not that I mind if you do it differently. Now just have the confidence, and that just elevates the whole activity. I think that is super important and can take you to
Yeah, yeah,
another
absolutely.
level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you were saying about you've got shows coming up. What are you where are you
Well, we have
appearing?
so back to technology again. We had a small website with one of the big cartels, but it wasn't personalised enough for us. So we got a young chap in, who helped us build a new website that we just launched. So now you can go on the website, you can buy direct, you can book a workshop, pay for the workshop. There's no if and butting. Can we make it today? It's dedicated time. So it's a lot slicker, it's a lot simpler, and we use that sort of technology to sort of really help us out. But we've got fairs coming up. So we've got 4 fairs coming up. Our first one is in a couple of weeks, and that's in a Royal Horticultural Society at Wisley, and that's Craft in Focus, and that's the 2nd to the 6th of May. And we do demonstrations. So I do throwing demonstrations, I do raku demonstrations. Jill does all the decorating, so she does a couple of different types of raku. So she does all the horsehair and all the fancy stuff. And of course, both being teachers, were quite good at drawing people in, not spending money, but And then we go on to celebrating ceramics, which is also craft in focus, and that is in Waterbury in Oxford. And that's July the 19th to the 21st. So we're demonstrating there as well. So if you can come along and see us,
I'll be able
then
to go to that one this year. I was away last year in that one, but I'll be
now
here.
that one is purely ceramics.
Mm.
So mainly ceramics and a bit of jewellery. I think he's introducing a bit more jewellery.
Mm.
But it's fantastic. Have you done that one before?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful, that one. And then we're going on to RHS Hyde Hall, which is over August bank holiday. So it'll be the 23rd to the 26th.
Mm.
And then we're finishing off with Pot Fest in the Pens at Melton Mowbray in November. And we'll have all our Christmas stuff out.
Yeah.
So not much going on, really. We're still
Brilliant.
waiting for retirement, but I can't see that happening for a while.
And you said you demonstrate at these events as well as teaching, and we've talked about the confidence, but what kind of other reasons, why do you think, from your experience and maybe the experience of people you've taught, why do you think it's important that adults have a way to experiment with their own creativity and learn new creative skills?
Right. So the way I look at it is we're different beasts now. I'm a different beast from my parents. My parents were older, probably 55 to 60. I mean, my father died when he was 58, but he was an old man at 58. Basically, he'd been through the Second World War, so that had different issues. But because of technology, because of information technology especially, people are looking for more. People are younger at an older age. I mean, Jill says to me, "When are you going to grow up?" I don't think it's ever going to happen. And it's like, somebody once said to me, "What are you going to do with your life?" And I still don't know what I want to do in my life. I still want to continue that journey.
Mm.
And I think a lot of people are like that. And I think we're in a culture now where there's a little bit more money about. There's certainly a lot more information and intellectual information that can spur your creativity on. And I think what happens is you have all this firing at you, whether it's the television, the radio, or whatever. It feeds into your enthusiasm. And I think, you don't have to. I mean, we have friends that are retired and are sitting back and, waiting, but, in the main, come on,
Yeah.
but, yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah. No, completely agree. And it's something that we see on the podcast, the Creativity Fan podcast, so many different experiences of guests with exactly that kind of thinking, and how you change with time as well, and how it's easier now for people to, if they, they don't feel that they have to say, well, I've done all this my whole life, therefore I have to continue doing that for the rest of my life. There is a sense of, I can try different things. Anybody can try different things at any ages, which is super. Now, as I mentioned, you're a member of the Creativity Found Collective. We obviously have stuff on the website about you, and also we have online meetups and things like that to kind of stay connected. Do you think it's important to have other creative small business? Do you think it's important to have that kind of community around you to turn to, or just to be with?
Do you know, it's the greatest thing, I think, is criticism, positive criticism. And I think I always say to everybody that comes, and we have such a warm range of people like you wouldn't believe, but it's having that ability, especially for me. I love people saying, well, I'm not sure that works, and then you look at it in a different way. Or have you thought of, what about trying? Do you know? And then you're returning that compliment back. You're returning that tiny little bit of critique back, and that's getting you sort of generated and warmed up. But you need that. You need people. You need people to share the good part, the bad part, the warm part, the cold part. You need all that. You know. And to have people in your life is so important. You know, I mean, some of them drive you mad, but I'm sure I've driven a few people mad myself. But I just love that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. And we've already talked a lot about the future. I mean, normally I say, like, what's coming up for you in your business. We've talked a little bit about the tech you've been looking at and about the shows that you've got coming up. But do you have anything kind of specific you are aiming towards, or just having in the back of your mind that might be something to explore further in the future?
Well, okay, so I'm quite technical. I'm quite accurate, clearly from my engineering background. What I want to do is get a bit more into a bit more figurative work, a bit more sculptural work, a bit more expressive. I think people look at me, and when they know me, they go, "Oh yeah, that's Peter's work." So you're getting an identity, and I don't know if I want that identity for me personally. I want to make something people go, "Oh, what's that?" Because I feel now that I can change that. It's I mean, like so. We have people come here, like we're a tiny organisation, so we only have 3 or 4 people. So we can have in one session, we can have like a CEO of a company, a 12-year-old, and somebody that works in a garden centre. I'll tell you what we had the other day. We had Alessandro Fischer, the tenor, the opera tenor,
Yeah, I saw you
and
post
he came
about
in,
him. Yeah.
with a friend of his who's a consultant at St Thomas's, and they came in and you can imagine, from opera singer to hospital consultant, what the change was. And I think they're both looking, going, "What are we doing here?" Loved it. Absolutely blew them away. And this is what happens. And I think it's things like that that feed then into me, where I want to develop my work perhaps a little bit more oddball. No, not oddball, but more creatively. I just want to show there is. I'm not a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
There's more,
Yeah. That's
and
really
that's
interesting. And I think, going back to thinking about your time on Pottery Throwdown, you had that time to explore, didn't you? Because you were given a different challenge by
yeah,
someone else each time. Whereas when you're
yeah,
growing your portfolio, or for want of a better word, and you're actually making products to sell, then you are kind of heading down a particular single line
yeah. But
directions.
see, that was great because we had always planned when we retired to have a workshop, to have a pottery equipment in and just tinker about. But what the show did was like give us those challenges, And then for me, I'd look at it and think, this is not doable. It's not doable for a normal person, let alone me, you know. And but you do, and it was like a kick up the pants, you know. And that sort of opened up all these possibilities, and you know, and it was such an amazing, wonderful experience, you know. And because you are under pressure, and you are sort of going, well, you know, can I do it or can't I do it? But you do it, you know. However good, does that really matter? You know, you're doing it, you're having a go, like, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's like a catapult that pushed us up into the world, and off we went.
Yeah.
And this is it's made this monster, you know, and it's lovely. It's been great.
Well, yes, I was going to say it's an enjoyable monster.
Oh, it was an amazing monster. Yeah, I would advise any of those things, you know, just do it. Just, you know, don't worry about your age, don't worry about your disability. Just have a go. Just do it, you know.
Yeah.
Like if you can get on a show like that, you know, fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely
yeah.
brilliant. So I've put, well, yes, I have put a link. So I've put a link in the notes that goes with this to Woven Sands Clay over at creativityfound.co.uk. And I'll make sure that I've updated my links to your website, because if you've done new web work, I might need to update my links. So I'll do that in a minute
Okay.
to make sure everything links to the new site. So people can go there and they can go to your site, and that's where they can book classes, see where you're going to
Yeah,
be
they can
next
buy
and
work,
everything.
and they can,
Yeah.
you know, we do like a, it's not a newspaper. It's like we issue, you know, new work that we're doing, and we email people out so they can share. But you know, we also answer questions. You know, if people have got a problem, we like, you know, I'll always answer it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's that part of that sharing thing again, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Lovely.
So have a look at the website. It's not unusual, but it's funny. The lad that we had create it, he's clearly amazingly technical, and he was quite excited. He said, "Oh, I'll design your page and everything," and he brought it back and showed me. I said, "Oh, it's like a dentist. It's all clean and tidy." I said, "No, I want it dirty. I
Oh,
want it black
yeah.
and white and water and muck and hands." And he went,
Yeah.
"Oh," but after he'd done it, he said, "What an amazing experience that was." Like, there's totally, and he said, "I'd look at the design for people in a completely different way now."
Yeah.
And I thought that was lovely, you know, and that was a really nice thing to say.
So a bit of mutual creativity there then.
It was, yes, yeah, but I terrified him, bless him. You know.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much, Peter. It's been brilliant to talk. Was there anything else you wanted to mention?
No, only just thank you, Claire, for everything you do. These are so important. You know, let's get as many people joined up as possible and sharing this, because this is part of that's new technology, and it
Yeah.
needs people like you to do the work behind and just keep pushing all these
Oh.
podcasts and YouTubes and everything. And you know, I really appreciate, you know, that you've invited me along. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. You're very welcome. Just before we go, I'm just going to mention that, as I said, there are links in the notes that go with these recordings, including links to Riverside, which is the platform I use to do these live streams, and a link to Buzzsprout, which is where I host the podcast. If anybody in the audience ever uses any of these kind of technologies and uses my links, then I will get a little bit of money back to help me with the podcast. So I would appreciate that. But otherwise, thank you so much, Peter. It's been a really lovely chat.
No, Claire, absolutely my pleasure as always. And we'll
Thank
talk
you.
soon.
Thank you.
All right, my darling.